Hello everyone. Now it's becoming a habit to walk into this expanse of land near my house. It's not very common to get such a large tract of open field, green field. Of course, this has got some brown patches in a densely populated city estate, Singapore. So many inspiring thoughts are coming into my mind. Of course, we will talk about the theme for the meditation, but I also have undertaken some projects related to Srimad Bhagavad Puran, rather Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran, which is the highest amongst the Vedic literature. So I have decided to study it every day at least for 15 minutes and make a video which will compile all the key points from the beginning. Bhagavad Mahapuran has 345 chapters spread into 12 cantos and 18,000 verses. So it would be great fun to compile the key points in a video form, which I plan to begin this evening. So hopefully this will be a project I will take full responsibility and commit myself, and I will need a lot of blessings. So coming to the theme for this weekend Bhagavad Gita verse, I am tempted to share the first and the last verse from chapter 2, because this just occurred to me. To understand Bhagavad Gita deeply and in greater detail, we have to try all kinds of learning. So one learning that came to my mind, we have all read Bhagavad Gita so many times. So let us now remember the theme in all the chapters. And one way to understand the message in the chapters is to relate to the first verse and the last verse. So yesterday we took the first verse from first chapter, Arjun Vishad Yog, lamentation by Arjun about the consequences of the war. So the first verse was Dhritarashtra uvācha dharm kshetre kurukshetre samveta yutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kim kurvata Sanjaya. That was 1:1. And the last verse was 147. Eva muktva Arjuna sankhe rathopastha upāviṣhṭa visrijya sasharam chapam shok samvigna manasaha. So remembrance of these two verses is helping me to visualize the incidents from the first chapter. That Dhritarashtra is sitting in the palace and Sanjay is narrating the happenings of the Mahabharata war in the Kurukshetra battlefield. Sanjay has the power of clairvoyance, and how Duryodhana is assessing the strength of the Pandavas, assessing their own strength, and how the bugles have started, how the conch shells are being blown, and how Arjun is lamenting. And finally Arjun says, Visrijya sasharam chapam. I discard this bow and arrow and I am not going to fight. The second chapter begins with the first verse by Sanjay. Tam tathā kṛipayāviṣhṭamaśhru pūrṇākulekṣhaṇamviṣhīdantamidaṁ vākyam uvācha madhusūdanaḥ. The second chapter is the second longest in Bhagavad Gita. Sankhya Yoga, the analysis of the spiritual science. So the last verse, which is 172, says, eṣhā brahmī sthitiḥ pārtha naināṁ prāpya upāchataṁ. eṣhā brahmī sthitiḥ pārtha. And then it says that the attainment of the state of Brahma-bhūt, the attainment of the complete peace without the pangs of desires, is called the nirvāṇa. So it says brahma-nirvāṇam ṛichchhati. So those who have reached that Brahma state, which was spoken in the earlier two verses, apuryamanam achala pratishtham samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamaya pravishanti sarve sha shantim apnoti na kamakami. This was 270, which said that thousands and thousands of rivers are emptying into the ocean. But the ocean doesn't get disturbed. The ocean remains still and calm. Similarly, those yogis who have learned to accept so many desires, so many thoughts coming into the mind without getting affected, they have reached that state of equipoise, the state of peace, and they are the ones who will reside in nirvāṇa, a complete contented blissful state where they will experience the bliss from within and the external factors will not be the cause for any negativity. And that is when the last verse is spoken, eṣhā brahmī sthitiḥ pārtha naināṁ prāpya and brahma-nirvāṇam ṛichchhati. I am forgetting the first few words of the second line. So I think it's a great way to relate to the different chapters by learning about the first verse and the last verse, because the last verse brings about the background for the next chapter. For example, in the third chapter, which is Karma Yoga, Arjun will ask the question, Jyayashi Karmani, that particular verse, Mata Buddhir Janardana. Krishna, please tell me the difference. I am confused. At one point you are talking about Gyan, at one point you are talking about Karma Yoga. So, Jyayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim ghorem, that shlok. So we will go into that in the next video, but for the time being, let us take a cue from these two verses from Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga, about our meditation, that it is so important to transcend the desires which are arising and creating the disturbance in our mind. And finally, Bhagavad Gita is talking about the surrender to the Lord, because our own efforts can only take us to a point. The complete control will only be possible when the divinity has blessed us and we have been graced by the Supreme Almighty. So both our own efforts and the grace from the Lord are the requirements to attain this state, which will take us into the state of nirvāṇa. That is the theme, and I am very excited that I am taking a resolution to begin the preparation of the videos for the Bhagavad Gita. Initially I wanted to do it in Hindi, but in the first instance I'll do it in English. There are reasons for that, and if that experiment goes well, then I'll repeat that in English. So those of you who are interested in learning deeper into Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad Mahapuran can contact me, and we have many classes ongoing, and there are special classes for the learning of Bhagavad Gita for those of the students who want to get deeper into it. And Bhagavad Mahapuran is turning out to be amazing. Today we read about the movement of the sun, which was so fascinating. Just to know that contrary to what we were taught in school, Bhagavad is saying that the sun is rotating at a very fast speed. So the complete universe is defined to be a tract of 50,000 crore yojans. Now 1 yojan is 8 miles. That means the extent of the universe is 4 billion miles. 4 billion miles means 6.4 billion kilometers. That means 64,000 crore kilometers. I'm sorry, 64 crore kilometers. So that is the size of the universe, and universe is within the multiverse because there are so many different universes. And our universe, we have the 7 lokas at the bottom and the 7 lokas at the top. That is the part of the Bhumandal. And in the center we have Jambudvip. In the center of Jambudvip we have the Mount Meru. And then if we go into the vertical plane, we have the orbit of the sun, the orbit of the moon, and then different planets like Venus, Saturn, Mercury, Mars, etc. We also have another very magnificent orbit which is called Kal Chakra, and the nakshatras, the constellations, are seated on that Kal Chakra. And if we go further up, there is the Big Dipper, the Ursa Major, the Great Bear constellation, which is the Saptarishi. And if we go further up, we have the different lokas: Maha, Jana, Tapa, Brahma, Satya Loka. And we also have the pole star, the Dhruv Tara. And Dhruv Tara is connected to the sun through an axis made up of a rope of air, and the sun has 2 movements. In one movement it is making an orbit, and in another movement it is going up and down in a very zigzag way, which was the theme of our study today, and it is so fascinating. So now when I look at the Earth planet on which we live, the concept has completely changed. Now I am visualizing I am on this tract of land which is a part of the Earth, and Earth is the part of the Bharat Varsha, which is a part of the 9 Varsha within Jambudvip, which is a part of the 7 Dvip and the 7 oceans in the Bhumandal, which is a part of the Brahmand, which is created by Brahmaji. in which there are billions of such objects. So this is completely fascinating, and when we go more into the different varsh and the different mountains, like we learned the meaning of the word dvīp. Dvi means two and apa means water. So a tract of land which has water on both sides is called an island. So the words are so meaningful. All these we will be covering in those videos which I'll start to make from today. So very important point I wanted to share with all of you, and thanks for your time and listening to this video. Take care. See you again.